Hello Forkies, this is day 17 of me playing chess every day until I reach the rapid rating of 2500. So here we go. We are going to play a 15 plus 10 rapid game here on chess.com and we get the white pieces. So pawn to e4, and I like these 15 plus 10 games, and we have Caro-Kann defense. Now, I was studying the exchange variation recently for my overboard games, but pawn to f3, the fantasy variation, is just great in rapid games. e5, the only good move, knight f3, and now bishop g4 is the best move, bishop c4, and when I will castle, I will have the open f-file to attack, and now pawn to c3 is the best move, bishop d6, this is theory, bishop d6. Clearly my opponent is trying to remember the theory here. Bishop d6 is the correct option, now bishop g5 and queen c7. And my opponent should not try to capture my d4 pawn because I always have even e5 ideas in some positions. And now queen to c7 is the end of the theory. I mean the end of the theory, like queen to c7 is the best move, but h6 on the board. Okay, pawn to h6, logical move. Probably just bishop h4, nothing there. Bishop h4, simply not taking the knight, but still pressuring the king side of my opponent. And of course my idea is to attack down the f-file and to play queen e1 followed by queen g3, maybe h3 g4, and to attack my opponent's king. And I really like this kind of positions because I can be tactical. My bishop will usually go to f2, supporting my king on this open diagonal usually, and people often play the move queen to b3, which is not the best move, but maybe queen b6 is an okay move for my opponent right away. But probably queen to c7 is the best move because this pawn on e5 is a stronghold. You cannot allow me to push my pawn to e5, so taking this pawn is really bad. So something like rook to f8 is a mistake as well, because look at my pieces attacking the f7 pawn, and when the knight will disappear, when the bishop will disappear, I will have the f-file just for myself. So my opponent still thinking, but this is normal because we have enough time to think, to process the best moves. And I like these 15 plus 10 games, as I mentioned before, because I have enough time to think and to explain my moves is in much greater depth than like in 10 plus 0 games where even flagging is an option. So maybe my opponent is trying to play pawn to g4, which is a very bad move, I get, because of bishop to... Yes, this is a big mistake. No, you cannot play like this. Bishop e7 is a big mistake. Why? Because now the e5 pawn is very weak. Very weak. Now h3. Here g4. Here I takes. I guess this is fine. But I mean, you are not really threatening to take this pawn. Look at this f-file opening up for my attack. So now I will calculate, and my opponent spent exactly 2 minutes on this move. Bishop e7. Okay, h3. If takes, maybe knight takes. If here I take, and maybe I take. Here, although this is losing. I mean, pawn to h3 is just begging to be played, although there is a move queen to e1 as well. Oh, I like this move, I really do. Queen e1, trying to get here, and now I'm threatening just to take the pawn here because my queen is no longer on d1 where the knight would be pinned. So queen to e1, very practical move actually. I like this. Queen g3, maybe if g5 maybe I can even sack in that position, although that's probably not particularly good. But now I'm simply threatening to take this pawn. What will my opponent do? Now bishop e7 was a big mistake, not only moving the bishop 2 times in the opening, but this bishop just needs to be on d6 square supporting the weak pawn on e5. This is the soul of black's position, and if if e5 pawn collapses, then black will simply lose the game in 7 moves, because I will simply open up the f-file, I will open up my 2 bishops here, my queen will go to kingside, h3, g4 coming, this knight will be very useful, knight f3 from d2 to f3 is an idea as well. So my opponent spent 2 minutes and made a big mistake. And for you that are watching this series on my way to achieving the rapid rating of 2500, after each game of course I analyze it very deeply and I try to like get some informations of my play, therefore I can improve with just playing. And of course I train in my free time as well. So queen e1 was played, my opponent is from New Zealand, or is it Australia? I'm not sure. It's Australia actually. Wow, my geography is so bad. But okay, I have 2 minutes time advantage, which is not particularly important whatsoever because we both get 10 seconds per each move and my opponent has enough time, but maybe his position is now looking, I would say, not pretty good. And if you must play now bishop to d6 back supporting the pawn, then I mean, this is just very bad. So probably queen to c7 will be played, maybe queen b6, but you are not really threatening to take this pawn because, I mean, you're just not. Knight b3, I guess there is queen a3, but I have that big of an attack, so taking the pawn on b2 is bad, and queen to c7 was played indeed. So now definitely taking is must be considered, definitely, followed by, no, taking is bad, so h3 I guess, h3, maybe queen g3, attacking the pawn once again, and if here, I guess you're never threatening to take because I can push, although this, maybe this loses material, but I have bishop takes f6 and the bishop on g4 would be hanging. I mean, queen g3 is a very tactical move, followed by bishop d6. I can take, takes, winning everything. So queen g3, why not play fast, play good moves fastly. Now bishop d6 loses on the spot, yes, correctly taking the knight, and of course I have knight takes, but then there is knight e4. There is also g takes on f3, which can look risky, but g takes on f3 is a legit option. Why am I saying this? Because king h1, no, just take with the queen. Why not? If I take with the knight, then there is here. Do I have anything? Definitely there is here. Takes, maybe taking like this. Bishop back. I don't like this. So, I don't like taking with the queen, but probably I'm forced to do so. Although, maybe not. G takes on f3 is a very legit option. But then, just here and there is no attack actually. Because the bishop gets attack when knight takes on e4 happens, so probably queen takes is the only move. Let me calculate this once again. Maybe I have something, but I don't see it. Because knight d2 can be played when knight on... yeah, so... just let me just take with the queen. I don't know why I spent 2 minutes here. This is bad. But okay, time advantage is at 20 seconds, which is definitely not important, but okay. Wait. Oh, okay. I just checked if there is 94, but you can just take with the queen defending the bishop, so there is absolutely no... yes, and f4 doesn't work because I have queen e1 defending the knight, not the knight, but the bishop on h4, of course. So, my opponent still thinking I have a big pressure down the f-file, so moving this rook is very bad. Maybe I will play something like queen g3 next. Maybe pressuring the pawn. Maybe rook a e1 followed by knight to f3 so that my pawn is defended here, and queen b6. No, you can't play like this. Although, I mean, I guess this is an option. I never really know how to defend against queen b6, but I know it's not particularly good. So, is there queen g3 takes? I mean, definitely queen f2 can be played, but then the b2 pawn is hanging, and the c3 pawn is hanging. Maybe bishop f2. Oh well, just knight b3, right? a5. a5, I don't like a5. Bishop f2. a4 takes. No, the knight is here, so this is not possible, so just... I guess there is knight to b3. Knight b3, a5, bishop f2. a4 takes, attacking the queen. And then there is here. Oh. No, and after takes... I guess I take, trade off everything. I should be a pawn up in that position. Knight b3. Let's go. Knight b3. God bless me, excuse me. And now a5, I guess, is the only idea that black has, because bishop f2 will be played at some point, like right now. And now you have something to deal with. Bishop f2, I played instantly. Why not? This is the only move. If yes, but I mean, what have you accomplished now? Just going back. I can go back now. There is no queen b6 because I take. Takes. Yes. Knight d2, a4. I don't care. Maybe bishop h4. Anyway, I like my position so far. There is always g4 that my opponent needs to calculate. I mean, I can play g3 or h3 and g4 and king g2. This is just improving move. And the fact that my opponent left this bishop like uncompromised, or I don't know what the word is. b5, a big mistake once again, because I can play here. Putting my bishop on this diagonal, that's my plan, definitely. I mean, definitely my opponent is trying to attack me on the queen side, excuse me, but you can't attack me on the queen side if before I play knight to c4. Bishop g3, here, mate. So, what will you do? I think my position is very good after b4. Here, if takes, I can simply take. Why would I play too fast? When this diagonal, oh yeah, this is bad. I will calculate because I have enough time, but knight to c4 looks devastating. Bishop d6, I guess there is bishop d6, right? But I can still take. Just knight to c4. I like this move very much. If takes on c3, I simply take back. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I just take the pawn. Because although this bishop on f2 is on f2, not on g3. Wow, what a match. But when my bishop gets to g3, pinning the pawn to the queen, then the real problem starts. Because I will open up this diagonal. My opponent has no light square bishop, so he cannot like defend this diagonal properly. G6 will have to be played, but then the f file and the f7 pawn will be weak, and there is often a sack on g6, and my knight super strong piece on c4. Probably bishop d6 is the only option, but bishop g3 then takes. Of course, my knight defends the d6 square, so this is impossible. I am up 1 minute on the clock, which is important as well. And yes, probably rook b8 is a move in the position. I mean, how can you defend this poor king on g8? This is hard, most definitely. This is hard, definitely. Taking, always a bad move. Always. Because I push e5 and checkmate you. Here. Maybe to go back here when g6 will be played, so. I mean, your light squares will be very weak. That's just a fact. Down to 2 minutes. Or I'm up 2 minutes. That should be the saying, but okay. My king is a bit weak on this diagonal, but unfortunately for me, there is nothing that... Maybe queen a7, but just king h1, and my bishop is for the time being still on f2, so there should not be any kind of problems whatsoever. And yes, bishop d6, followed by bishop g3. I guess this is an only option for my opponent. Takes, I guess. But then just rook d1, maybe pressuring the d file as well. I like my position. Bishop d6, most definitely the only move. But then simply something like, I don't know, maybe queen h3. Putting pressure with the bishop. Putting pressure with the rook. Maybe rook sacrifice will be an idea. Of course, rook takes f7, not f7, but rook takes f6. Sacrificing an exchange is always an idea in fantasy Caro-Kann, and that's why this opening is so vicious, because I am attacking my opponent and many players doesn't know how to react to pawn to f3. Of course they know the theory and the most basic plans, but defending is the hardest skill in chess, most definitely. And yes, I'm getting the control over the game. My opponent spending 3 minutes on this move. That means that he's unsure how to react to my threats. The threat is just to take the e5 pawn. I don't know what to say for my opponent. I really don't. I believe bishop to d6 is the only move, but even taking and play bishop g3. Look at these two bishops. Conquering the board, conquering all of the diagonals. I mean, this is just painful to watch. Really. I mean, yes, if my opponent can consolidate, then maybe he will have an advantage in the endgame, excuse me. But there will be no endgame if checkmate will be delivered to my opponent. So, I mean, this is really hard to defend. And we are only at the move 19. And rook to d8 was played. I don't believe. I simply don't believe you. I don't believe that this works. Because I can take. Takes. What did my opponent think here? Check. King h1. I mean, what's your idea? I will push the pawn. I guess there is bishop d6. Takes the queen, but then I get rook to d1. I can start with rook to d1 most definitely. Why not? Bishop d6 takes. I mean, this is just a matter of... I mean, bishop g3 is a very nice move as well, forcing bishop d6. Although, I mean, I don't like... Maybe just king h1. Is my opponent like threatening anything? Not really, I can then push. King h1. Playing fast. Giving my opponent hard questions to answer. King h1, and now I'm definitely threatening to take the pawn. And play bishop g3 and push the pawn and win the game. And yes, this is hard. Very hard to defend. Knight h7. I don't like this move for my opponent. Definitely you can play knight to g5 in some positions, but I mean, I can just trade everything and push, and if here, I guess there is nothing here. h4 stopping knight g5, but then f6 happens and I am not that good. Just taking. Takes, bishop g3. Maybe I guess that it is here, but this loses. And where will your queen actually go? I guess here. Or here, but... I'm getting this bishop really active here, so... I like my position. It's not over, most definitely not, but even if knight g5 happens, I have queen e2, I have here pressuring everything. I like my position. And of course this is an isolated pawn, but it doesn't matter if I deliver checkmate. I mean, that's just the fact, right? And even the endgame shouldn't be that bad for me, because the pawn on c6 is very weak as well, so... I guess that is queen to c5, pressuring c3. And then, yes, but now I can just take the pawn on b4. Queen takes. Should I play h4 actually? If I push, takes, there is no takes because I go here. Pushing the pawn looks nice. G6. Then I lose. There is bishop f2 as well, followed by queen d6. I guess then I can play rook d1. If here, just here, and h4. Well, now I need to play quicker. Oh, I can reroute the bishop here maybe. But then c5 happens, I lose the bishop here. h4. Takes. I'm losing there. Rook c1 an option. I guess rook c1 is okay. I guess rook c1 is okay if here, just here. No, this loses. Queen e2 then. Just rook c1. I don't like my position as much as I did, but I have some nice winning chances if you ask me. I guess knight g5, queen e2, pressuring h4, always a threat, but I guess. Bishop f2, bishop d4 idea, and the board will open up and these two bishops will ultimately be the deciders. I want to open up the board, yes, that's for sure, but I don't want, yes, queen e2 now. Maybe taking is not as good as I think it is, but okay. h4. Here, I can always push and go for this plan as well. Then I can even sack the rook on f7. Rook takes, rook g7, queen e6, check. I mean, then rook f1 check, king e8, bishop g6, should be checkmate, but then rook takes, queen takes, king e7, rook d1, should pick up the rook and my position should be okay. And my opponent down to 3 minutes and a half. I mean, bishop d6 an option, definitely. Then I push. I push h4, I play here. And down to 3 minutes and 5 seconds, and this can be the decisive part of the game as well. I have a bishop to c7 an idea when the queen moves, actually, just a fork, and then there is rook a8. I like my position, I must say, I like my position, and like there are ways to blunder the game for my opponent. And clearly he doesn't know what to play. Spending like 2 minutes when you have only 4, it is bad. It is a bad sign for you. Bishop d6, queen d6, rook d1, because my bishop is attacked, followed by e5, bishop h7, maybe some discovered checks, queen b6. What is this? I guess trying to play c5 or b3. b3 is bad because after a b3, queen b3, bishop c4, queen b6. I mean, rook takes f7, rook f7, rook f1. Oh no, there is knight on g5, so pushing. Just d5. Playing okay moves fast is more important than playing best moves slow. If a move is good enough, why not play it fastly? Why not? b3, not a big threat. c5, I guess. h4, I really like this move. Here, here, g6. And this is what I was talking about then. I sack, but this is like nothing. So what should we play? Bishop h4, threatening to take and play here. I mean, maybe I can take and play b3. If takes, maybe he takes with the c pawn and then b3. Why not? Why not opening the c file when my rook is on c file? If here, b3. I guess this is not the best, but just b3, right? Maybe, I believe taking with the a pawn was much better, opening up the a file. This looks bad. Rook d1. If here, maybe bishop c4. And then taking and playing h4 and taking. I mean, I will spend enough time here because this is a crucial moment of the game, most definitely. Most definitely king h8 needs to be played, or queen b6, but queen b6, h4. I like the idea of playing h4, but it looks too risky actually. Queen b6 played, bishop f2, where will the queen go? Is there actually anything if I... No, there is not. Bishop f2, why not? Improving my bishop. I mean, I like my position. I like my position, and now I will talk a little bit less because I need to concentrate fully on the game. My opponent down to 1 minute, and on these 15 plus 10 games I am seeing that I manage my time very goodly. In very big part of the games I have the time advantage on the clock, which is important when we are down to 1 minute, for example, like my opponent. If I guess I won't reach the 1 minute mark, but if I will, then my opponent will also have 1 minute on the clock, which can be seriously bad. Okay, h4, knight e6, bishop a6. h4, here. Is the queen actually trapped? Oh wait, the queen is trapped. Oh no, there is check. I missed that this is check. Bad. Here and then... I guess... Wait, but it's still trapped. Oh no, he has here. I guess this saves him. So bad. But h4... I should gain a big initiative actually. Why not? Why not? There is nothing on this diagonal for my opponent. My king is very weak, but I mean this just looks correct. Bishop e4, very big threat. What is my opponent thinking about? I guess knight to h7 is a move as well. I guess. And this looks completely wrong. 15 seconds. Knight to e6. Yes. And now, is there a way to trap the queen? And he still has this square. Bishop e4. Now he will spend some time to see that he needs to take. Oh, I completely missed that he has queen b8 actually. But this looks very wrong. How to play this? I want to make a waiting move because he cannot take. Maybe this will like... Maybe he will take, so... How to make a waiting move here? It's actually hard to find one. King g1, I guess. Do I have like any plan? Bishop b1 here and here. h5. h5. And then there is still here. I don't like this. Bishop b1. Here takes, is game over, there is no g6. Yes. I'm giving away this square, but for a reason. Please take the pawn. 5 seconds. Yes. Bishop b1. Threatening here, here. And here there is no g6. Yes, this is true, but I can still take. How to play this? I mean, I have some brilliant moves there, but just here. There is nothing that works. Bishop h4 played. Wait. Oh. I wasn't careful on the clock. But the position is slightly better for me, really. Only slightly better. Because like my idea, if he plays... Let's say he plays... What is even a move here? Let's say... let's say just rook e8, doing absolutely nothing. I will take, and now I think I have rook to c7. Or maybe yes, taking firstly, and then playing here. If takes. Oh no, there you can sack everything. But I think I was having very good position for the most of the game. So let's analyze the game together. e4, c6, the Caro-Kann, and now pawn to f3, just reinforcing the pawn on e4. The best move is to play takes, but there are other options like e6, and then we get like this kind of position, which is still very nice for me. I have a big space advantage. If c5, I simply develop. I like these kind of positions, but my opponent chose to take, and after takes and d5, of course I cannot take the pawn because of queen h5, losing a rook here, which is definitely not recommended. So e5, knight f3, and if takes, I don't take back, but I play bishop to c4, threatening, I mean not threatening, but threatening to castle, playing like knight g5, attacking everything. Very good position. So bishop g4 was played and bishop to c4, and now very common mistake is to play knight to f6, losing the game on the spot because of this brilliant fork here. And you know me, my name is Forky. Because of this fork you need to smash that subscribe button below. Thank you guys, it would help me out. So knight to d7 is the only move in the position, of course reinforcing the e5. So now takes doesn't work, because if I take here, there is knight here. But if I play knight g5, you can simply sacrifice the queen. And if takes, black has 3 pieces and white only has 2, which is of course very bad. So after knight to d7, the theory goes castles, knight f6, and pawn to c3. And now if black takes this pawn, this is very bad because of bishop takes f7 again. And now look at this knight, look at this rook now, just losing everything. Maybe taking with the queen is better, but this rook on f file is very good, of course. So bishop d6 needs to be played, just reinforcing the threat, not reinforcing, but just kind of supporting the e5 pawn and not moving this knight, because then everything collapses in the position. So bishop g5 now is the best move, and now knight d2 simply. And yes, I know now queen c7 is in fact the best move, followed by queen e1, queen g3. But my opponent, after bishop g5, castles and knight bd2, he simply played h6 and bishop h4. Of course, I'm trying to play bishop f2 or bishop g3 in some positions. And now very bad move, bishop to e7 was played, giving me a big advantage. Not only moving the bishop 2 times in the opening, just developing the queen would be better anyway, but now this pawn is weak on e5, and I played the correct move, queen to e1, trying to play queen g3 of course. Now queen c7, defending the pawn once again, queen g3, very good move, and now after takes, queen takes is the best move indeed. I spent a lot of time here calculating knight takes, but if I were to take with the knight, then there is here, and whoa, queen g6 the best move. Okay, this is insane, because if you're trying to take on chess.com, it's like it doesn't work. Why I can't take? Well, because of this spin, of course. I don't know how this helps. If takes, I have takes, and what's my idea? After, let's say nothing, knight f5, of course. This is just checkmate. Okay, maybe I need to train harder, so I will see these kind of ideas. And now queen b6. And yes, bishop b3 was better. What about takes? And now bishop f2. No, now knight c4. Okay, I guess. So after knight b3, he played a5, and I calculated that I have bishop f2, which is the only move, and I played it in 1.7 seconds. Queen c7, knight d2, just bringing my pieces back, and now knight to c4, rook to e8, and now I was trying to make this plan work out for me. Here, But I thought that he has queen to c5 check and I have nothing here because I'm too slow. So after rook a to d8 I played the top engine move I'm so proud of, king to h1. And now the threat is to take, bishop g3, push and win the game. So my opponent played knight to h7, trying to play knight to g5. And now h4 actually is a good option, but I took the pawn, which is bad. Now takes, queen takes and bishop g3, queen c5 was played, and now simply knight to g5 is a very good resource for my opponent. So maybe h4 was still okay in this position, not allowing here. But okay, I played rook a to c1 because my pawn was hanging on c3 the whole time. And now knight to g5, queen e2, maybe taking this battery, I'm not sure, maybe bishop c4 pressuring the f7. And now queen to b6. I don't know what the idea of this move is, but my opponent later on played c5, maybe trying to play rook c8 to play c4, but even then I can simply take because I have this queen on e2 supporting my bishop. So now e5 was played, very good move again, c5 and taking the pawn. But h4, knight h6 and bishop to c4 was a very good maneuver, I don't know simply why. Even taking is not very good because what am I doing there? And this pawn is weak anyway, so that's not particularly good. So I simply took the pawn after c takes on b3, on b4. Maybe a takes was better, yes, opening up the a file for the rooks. But c takes is okay, b3, queen to d4 and rook f to d1, the correct option, queen b6 and bishop to f2, queen b7 and h4. And after knight to e6 I played the move bishop to e4, and now rook takes d1 was the best, but my opponent played the move queen to b8, simply okay. Now h5 was played, preventing the idea to play g6 when I make this battery here, which is of course correct, but now I give away this crucial square on g5. So knight g5 was played, bishop b1 and queen to b7, and after bishop to h4 my opponent simply lost on time. There is nothing I can do, and I won 7 rating points, so now we are at 2048. So guys, this was day 17 of me playing chess every day until I reach the rapid rating of 2500, and if you like the video please consider subscribing, it would really help me out, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye!